Hello traders, this is my weekend video. Quick rundown here what I'm seeing in the markets. So everybody should know that I'm actually a perma bear, thinking that we potentially have put in a blow off top on the markets. But that just in uh, in the bigger time frame here, I don't think we're quite ready yet to fall out of bed. So we'll see what happens here in the coming week. Bottom line here, the weekly levels are holding so far. The weekly support is holding. We looked a little bit below there Friday, came back up, and we're holding right there at the bottom of those weekly levels. We're still holding that 20 SMA weekly trend line, which is very critical. So, we're still not technically putting in uh, lower weekly lows, stair stepping down on a weekly time frame. And that's really the big indication that we've actually started into a bigger uh, reset. Okay, and so definitely keep that in the back of your mind going forward here. Some things I'm looking at here, you see the touch right here, the 20, it held. Seeing the 20 touch here of the 20, it's looking a little bit more bearish, but it's not broken yet. Okay, so I definitely want to keep that in the back of everybody's minds here. Hopefully you didn't go overly bearish in the markets. There's times to be overly bearish. If you have a bigger time frame, like March, April, in expiration on the options, of course, you can have some short exposure here. But the markets have still not told us on the shorter time frame that we should actually be loading up to the short side. So just be very mindful of that. Okay, some things that I was watching in the markets there. Friday, QLD, that's your two times NASDAQ. Okay. And we're right down here at a triple bottom. Okay. And remember, we haven't even launched earnings season yet. Okay. And we did have a fairly large major, uh, number 3 ranking of all time in the QLD that hit the tape there Friday. And that we ended up supporting right at or above that trade level. Okay. So I want to sit there and thinking, I said, why would there be such a big trade in QLD? I mean, yes, somebody could be going big time short QLD, thinking that it'd be impacted greater to the downside. Okay. But, in that situation, if they were really loading the boat, QLD short, okay, then the inverse, the SDS, I mean, the SDS should have actually been catching even a bigger bit, okay? And this is your ultra short S&P 500. Okay. Okay. Ultra short. This here should actually, that's not the Nasdaq, but the S&P 500. It should have actually been, and the S&P 500 is actually the one that rules them all. We should have actually been seeing some outside trades in the SDS if the markets were really impulsive, setting up for an impulse move to the downside. So basically, what I'm seeing so far in the markets was a corrective wave back to the 220 SMA again on the weekly. And I'm still not seeing signs of an impulsive break in the markets. I mean, using these two-time leveraged ETFs, uh, you know, just be food for thought going forward here. Okay. Other things that I had showing up were Amazon, guys. So 79 is the ranking. That means it's in the 79th percentile of all-time trades in the Amazon. Hit the tape right here near the close Friday. Okay, we're at a multiple low. We're above the prior swing high. This does looks like anybody who is on a shorter term time frame, you know, and this looks like a bull flag with a massive potential buy order in this. And what you can always do is go back over to your weekly. How's your weekly support working out here? Okay. We look below the prior week's low. We close below the prior week's open, but we are still inside of this multi-week distribution and getting a large trade at this level. So to me, it looks more bullish based on the price action if I factor in the price action. So I don't know. We'll see what happens Monday. Okay. Bottom line is if we come in, Amazon's breaking below that prior week low. That's 117 basically. So if we start opening below 117, okay, obviously, it was probably a bearish idea. But right here, right now, above 117, this does look like that like they're trying to support it. Similarly, Microsoft had a trade in the 78th percentile at this price point. This suggests to me that buy the dippers showed up, or institutions came in trying to buy the dip there Friday. So I definitely want to keep that in mind. And we did not break. We're not closing below a prior week's low. It looks like they're supporting the market. Okay. It looks like there's new money sitting out there ready to come into the market at this price point. So be very mindful of that. So far, we had a big trade, 46th percentile. Not nearly as healthy on NVIDIA as what we are seeing in some of the others, but and we did still the prior week. We're still holding inside of the trading range from the prior week on NVIDIA. So this is not something you just throw out with the bathwater. Uh, it's just it looks like they're trying to support prices at this price point. And with that all being said, I want to show Apple came down, broke below this prior high. Okay. But into the close, they tried to defend the prior highs here on Apple. And there was a large trade that executed at this price point. So, it's a 50% tile of all-time historical trades. Okay. So, it kind of looks like maybe buy the dippers there. So, it's another thing that I wanted to point out. And the reason I mentioned those, let's see here, show you here real quick. Like I said, the reason I mentioned that I mentioned those represented the five largest trades by dollars for the day, and those all happened right there at the close there Friday. So there was some big money positioning themselves into the close. Personally, I think that they were leaning more to the buy side because of QLD. Okay, QLD actually it ranked into the top five of largest ranking for the day and by relative size. Okay, so be very mindful of that. Just seeing that poking their toes into QLT, you're 218 times normal volume QLD. So I think that was something significant that we have to be mindful for. There's also TQQQQ. Check that out real quick. That's hitting the top five. An outside trade hit that one. So we'll check that out real quick here. And I'm thinking this is your three times. I can't remember which one that is. The TQQ. That might be three times leveraged your long at NASDAQ. So be very mindful of that. There's some big trades here in these at this price point hitting the tape. Another chart I was going to show you here real quick. You see the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We pushed down, we tagged the bottom of our massive trend here. That just says we're tagging support. That does not suggest that we've broken support. So in my opinion, based off the evidence that I'm seeing here, at anything you should have been uh, uh, ringing the register into the close there Friday instead of trying to push for the short until we have some more empirical evidence that it's time to give up on the uptrend. Because I do not, for the most part, I do not think the uptrends are broken. Now the Dow Jones looking pretty weak. We're breaking some weekly supports. The Russell, we're breaking weekly supports. But the S&Ps, the Nasdaq, they're not quite there yet. So, and we do have CPI coming out this week, and that could all change. So let's be very mindful of that going forward here. But that was just some of the outside stuff that I saw, and I think if we when we go into tomorrow, I don't think shorts are going to be paid. I think given the late day action in this, and this typically translates right into the next opening day, depending on what the institutions do Friday, you'll see a response out of the European markets the next day. They're trying to get ahead of the positioning. So, if anything, I would be looking for the NASDAQ to be potentially ticking up tomorrow morning based off the price action that I saw into the close. So we'll see how it all works out here. Don't get me wrong, I will be totally bearish if we start breaking supports, but I think we're getting a little too early here for the big breakdown. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, like I said, be sure to like me if you get a chance, and retweet me if you get a chance to. I really appreciate it. Thanks.